All right, Delta, we're back. I got Luke with me this time. We're going to go over some hitting fundamentals. That's really the only thing we really haven't started to cover. So we're just going to start with the basics of the swing and get that out of the way so that we can just go over what a proper swing should look like. I don't profess to be Mike Trout or Ken Griffey Jr. or anybody that can hit a bunch of home runs. I know what the basics of the swing should look like and what each little leaguer should at least more or less look like. We're not creating robots out here, so I don't necessarily need everybody's swing to look exactly alike, but having some basic fundamentals down in the swing is really important. So we're going to start with Luke. He's facing the camera to show you one really important thing, and that's about how far apart we want our legs to be, is just slightly wider than our shoulders. So some kids will be pretty deep into their stance, and you'll see this in the major leagues as well. And some people do start like this, and that's okay too, as long as you're comfortable and you're balanced. But generally, if you don't know what you're doing and you're starting out, just a little bit wider than shoulder width. Luke's got his hands up, they're ready to go. They're not here in front of his chest, they're behind his ear. They're loaded and ready to go. So that's got this whole torso even just twisted just a little bit. So notice that we don't have this elbow up like this, like so many people teach. That's not absolutely necessary. In fact, probably better to keep your elbow pretty relaxed. So Luke's got his elbow relaxed. His left arm should be a little bit more relaxed. His elbow should be bent. He doesn't need it to be straight like this. So let's relax that elbow like that. There you go. Okay, so now he's ready to swing. We have a little bit of motion in our swing, so we're moving back and forth, ready to go. The first thing that he's going to do is he's going to lift his leg and put it right back down. He doesn't have to make a big step. He doesn't have to lift his leg all the way up here. It's just a little lift. It's a trigger. Then the next thing, what goes after your leg touches the ground?
Rotate your hips a little bit.
Yep, start to turn your hips. So what you're doing by turning your hips is you're not taking them this way, you're turning them in place toward the pitcher. And what that does is that starts to create space so that you can drop your elbow down to your rib cage and stay inside of that ball. You don't want to reach outside the ball and then be pulling back toward the ball. That's going to result in a weaker hit. You'll probably only be able to be a pull hitter. So you want to stay inside the ball, tuck that elbow into your rib cage, and then reach out to the ball and hit it, and then throw your bat up over your shoulder. One thing you'll notice with Luke, can you show him how your knuckles are lined up? You want to walk a little closer to the camera and show him. So which knuckles are those that you have lined up?
These are my knocking knuckles.
Knocking knuckles. So these are the knuckles that he would knock on a door with. They are not his punching knuckles. We don't want to line up our punching knuckles when we swing a bat because it's really hard when you get here to roll your hands over, and that's a really important part of your swing. So when you get out of here and you're about to roll your hands over, you want your knocking knuckles lined up. So you get to here, you can roll those hands over and get more power, okay? So why don't you back up again, Luke? So we've gotten to the point where we're lifting our leg, putting it back down, starting our hips, and we tuck our elbow in to our rib cage. And then we're going to point that knob of the bat right at the ball. We're going to take that knob straight to the ball over the strike zone. So you'll notice he takes that knob, and as he tucks his elbow in, he points that knob straight at the ball. And then as he gets here, he's loaded and ready to go. He's well inside the ball. Here's the ball. We're coming from inside. We're going to hit it like this. So then, right here, that's where he finishes his hips, and he's going to explode those so that they face toward the pitcher. And then as soon as he explodes his hips, he's going to extend his arms and then throw his bat up over his shoulder. So go ahead and finish those hips, throw it up over the shoulder. So those are the important basics of the swing. Luke, why don't you show us a couple swings from different angles? Start like that, and then just kind of go slowly and go through those steps so that we can see what they look like, okay? That looks pretty good, yeah. Now why don't you do it just a little bit faster?
Okay.
Yeah, that looks pretty good. Now, why don't you swing right at the camera so we can see what it looks like if you're a pitcher pitching to you. Okay, so the key thing is that if you were to draw, why don't you get back in your stance?
Okay.
If you were to draw an imaginary line, and you can do this with all kinds of drills, with a net hanging right here, or a wall, or whatever, a fence from a dugout or something. If you were to put the ball right here, and a net right here, His bat should hit that ball with a sweet spot and not touch that net or that fence. We want to stay inside that ball, reach out and hit it with the sweet spot, and then throw that bat over the shoulder. So go ahead and show us one more time. Perfect, okay. So that's it, that's the basics of the swing. Next video we'll show you how that comes into play, and we'll show you it in action with the Hurricane machine. And then we'll be able to see some of the flaws and weaknesses of the swing in the way that the ball bounces or moves once he hits it.